Hi, I'm Brett Sicklick from Prime Wellness of Connecticut, located in South Windsor. Cannabis has been used as a medicine since the beginning of recorded history. In the last 40 years, the scientific studies and research of cannabis has progressed rapidly and is affirming that cannabis is useful as a medicine. In this episode of Inside Medical Cannabis, we visit one of Connecticut's licensed production facilities where we get a step-by-step look at how a variety of cannabis strains are carefully cultivated and processed into different forms of pharmaceutical-grade medicine. We're here at Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions in Portland, Connecticut, and we're here with Reno Ferrarizi, who is the COO of Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions. And the reason why we're in this room here first is because this is where the whole process, the whole cultivation process starts at this facility. And Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions prides themselves on growing as organically as possible. And right behind us here is Vermont compost. And Reno, why don't you tell us and tell the patients why you guys chose to use this type of compost and the purpose of it in your soil mixture?
So the reason that we use certified input materials in our process is because it gives us the assurance that there are going to be no surprises at the end when we're making our product. Unfortunately, there isn't an organic certification available for medical marijuana, but we can use certified organic input materials. So we basically use all the same ingredients that you would use in an organic grow, except we don't get to make the claim at the end. It's also worth mentioning that we use a highly purified water. We have a reverse osmosis system that purifies our water. So using certified input materials and purified water assures us that our products meet the highest standards of medicinal quality.
Yeah, and because Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions is growing as close to 100% organic as possible, they really are able to deliver true medicine to the patients here in Connecticut. We're here now in the propagation room at Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions, and the plants that you see here have recently been transplanted into these 1-gallon pots and into the soil. They've come out of the aero cloning machine, which essentially is used to establish roots. And Reno, is this room similar to the others in the facility, or are there kind of some unique attributes to this particular room?
The environment that these younger plants require is it's warmer, there's more humidity, really helps them to establish a good root ball, a good root base, and we don't want them growing up and stretching too much yet, so we don't add any carbon dioxide in here.
We've now made our way into the mother room and small veg room here at Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions, and behind us we have the really stock of plants that Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions is bringing to market here in Connecticut. So these are the plants in which they're taking clones from to basically start that new phase of growth. And just wanted to highlight quickly the distinction between these two plants here. The one on your right, or my left, is an indica dominant plant. You can notice that it's a little bit shorter, squattier, maybe some of the leaves are a little bit wider, whereas this plant right here is a sativa dominant plant, so has a lot of stretch in it, definitely much taller.
In the late 1800s, a European botanist by the name of Jean-Baptiste Lamarck published a document classifying sativa and indica varieties of cannabis. The sativa was typically grown in Europe as a hemp variety. They wanted it long and stretchy for the fibers to use in different textiles and such. There was no narcotic effect, though, when you consumed the sativa. In India, however, there was a strain that was darker in color, and like Brett said, it was squattier, fatter leaves, and it was highly narcotic. So he classified the strain from India as an indica versus the sativa in Europe. Now, however, everything is hybridized, taking strains and mixing them to sort of optimize the benefits from each sort of variety.
So we're here in one of the flowering rooms, and you'll notice that we've got a tremendous amount of swelling of the cannabis plant's flowers here. So basically these plants are in the later stage of their life. There's a significant amount of resin production on these plants. Resin is where a majority of the cannabinoids are contained. And the other thing that we really can't avoid here is the intensity of the lights. These look like very high intensity lights. Are these
high pressure sodium? Are these metal halide? Do you have a mix? It looks like there's kind of a checkerboard of lighting here.
That's correct. So we do. We have the high pressure sodiums in here. We also have metal halides. This is sort of one of our little more experimental rooms. We can control the output of these lights using the ballasts. All of this is in support of tricking the plants into believing that it's autumn, that it's a 12-hour light period, and that'll trick them into flowering. And that's what this room does. I want to mention also one other thing. When you use organic soil material, you're going to get organic sort of pests. You're going to get gnats and sort of insects like you would get at home. So in order to handle those sort of pests, so what we'll do is we'll actually purchase predator insects, specific bugs who like to dine on the pests that sort of plague our crop every once in a while.
Connecticut is extremely stringent about pesticide use. So anything that can be done to mitigate any type of pest issue using more natural, holistic approaches is really the best way to do it because obviously the final product that patients have access to is not going to be tainted with something that really shouldn't be ingested. And I really commend you guys for going to the length that you do to make sure that the products ending up in patients' hands that they're using as medicine is extremely safe.
Well, thank you.
We've now made our way into the curing room. This room that we're standing in right now is really extremely environmentally controlled, and really the purpose of that is to ensure that the product does not degrade. And Reno, can you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the environmental standards that are in this room and why they're so important?
This is one of the final steps in realizing the finished product. So the cure process is very important to drying and the curing because it's when you get the conversion of the cannabinoid acids to their neutral forms. It's also when the presence of the terpenes decreases.
How long does it take for you guys to dry harvested plants, and then how long do you take to actually cure the dried product?
The drying process is slow. It can take anywhere from 10 to 14 days, and then we'll cure it at a minimum for another week or two. That seems to be the sweet spot in the curing and drying process. We're in the packaging room here at Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions. This is where we pack out the majority of our products. Right now, we're in the middle of packing out flour. All of our scales are calibrated by a third party. They are also standardized daily prior to use using NIST traceable standards to verify that they're repeatable. On a 3.5 gram pack out, our operators will minimally pack out 10% higher. So we're at a 3.8.
Yeah, it's important for patients to know, just to make sure that they don't feel as though they're getting less than what they are paying for. That's really not going to be the case here with Connecticut Pharmaceutical Solutions products. So just like we're in the end stages of the life cycle of the plant, we're also at the end stage of this video, and really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Thank you, Reno, for giving us this wonderful tour and helping patients see kind of the process that their medicine is going through before it makes it into their hands. Patients of Connecticut can find Connecticut Pharmaceutical products available to them in a licensed dispensary in the state of Connecticut.